All right. We may as well get this over with because some are actually curious to know what I think about this since this has been around like wildfire.
Oh
The
yeah.
first look at Sonic the Hedgehog.
That's to go
Oh.
fast.
I'm sorry. When a certain dark side of mine saw that, he could not stop laughing. Oh God!
That's weird.
All right, go to town.
Yeah, go now.
I'm not sure if Aaron Izzard is saying OG to why does Bayformers sound like a Transformers porn parody? Okay, here's the thing. No one needs to hang on. Let me get the joke out because otherwise I'll never get this done. No one needs to see meching happen.
Oh, my eyes!
I don't know, man. Speak for yourself.
Oh, good.
Right. Here's a thing where I'm going to be objective, even though it's basically just a silhouette of Sonic at the moment. Let's just be real here.
Mhm.
Even if the producers and the designers got Sonic's look to be as faithful as possible to his classic design, do you really think they were going to be happy even then? This is the most divided, toxic fan base on the face of the planet. Probably along the lines of Steven Universe and the My Little Pony franchise, because let's be honest, there's always infighting with either of those fan bases. Even if
I can attest to that, yeah.
Also, the less said about the Rick and Morty fan base, the better.
yes.
Oh, and the Voltron fan base. Oh, good lord, no.
All right.
Now that confuses me.
Yeah, me too.
At least it's over, for better or worse.
Yeah.
True.
Even if they had done it with the cartoon physics, you get people complaining. If you had managed to get them to go halfway, you would get people complain. I think, and considering Tim Miller was the same guy that brought us the first Deadpool movie, I have a lot of confidence and trust in what he'll be able to do with this. Now, he may not be the director of this movie, but he's one of the producers and executive producers. So a lot of what he wants done will carry water and what have you. And the thing I've been reading up on interviews where he's given, he said first and foremost, we knew that there were going to be aspects of Sonic's design that wouldn't translate well into a real world because, from what I understand, the demographic that they're aiming for with this movie is going to be PG to PG-13. And considering this is going to be done in live action, unless you're going to make it like an outright action comedy romp like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, where you can have cartoon physics in it with with 2D animated cell cartoon characters, then fine, you'd be able to do that. But because a lot of people do these kind of video game movie adaptations where real world physics apply, if you were to take Sonic's design, whether it's from Sonic 3 or Sonic Unleashed, nobody's going to buy that in a real world setting. I don't want to be that guy and say, that's just the way it is. But unfortunately, I feel like I'm the only one looking at this from an objective point of view. I will agree, the design via the silhouette is not what I expected. But again, this is one of the most disagreeable fan bases in existence. Even when you give this fan base exactly what they want. 2 seconds later, they change their mind and say, no, we wanted it this way again. It's like they can't even agree how they want their coffee. Yeah, I want a new modern flavor. Tries the flavor. Yeah, I wanted the original classic latte flavor. Yeah.
Oh
Did they
God!
like
It's
call
like
it-
a WoW film fan base.
That sounds like
It sounds like the
the.
fucking World of Warcraft forums.
Personally, that reminds me of the episode from Courage the Cowardly Dog and Blue Murray says, "More macaroni, too much macaroni, less cheese, more cheese." Courage was about Courage. I could tell that Courage Blood Vessel was about to pop dealing with that shit.
Yeah. Now, there are some people that are complaining that he has elbows and knees. I'm like, if that's the only thing that you have to complain about in the day, then your life must have very little going on. I'm just gonna say that, because the design that they've given him, from a realistic physics standpoint, it makes sense. And they're saying, oh, we don't like the fact that he's got muscles. To be able to push yourself beyond the limits of what a normal human could run at, because the fastest human in the world at the moment can only do, I think, no more than 23 miles an hour in a short burst.
Mhm.
But that is what the current fastest human being is capable of running. And because Sonic has always been interpreted as a humanistic character, I mean, he's got opposable thumbs, arms, knees, and actually talks and has intelligence. It's like, it's a bit difficult to separate the two. And also, and Win can back me up on this, in one story arc that they had in the Archie comics, Mobius is actually Earth set, many millenniums into the future, where Sonic and the rest of his kind actually already have human DNA in them because of gene cloud seeding that happened in the distant past. So that's then has some realistic, plausible reason why they're able to have sentient intelligence and what have you. Dad, no one cares that Sonic has blue arms. Nobody cares about Sonic anymore. That's a dead meme anyway.
Sonic.
Plus, it makes sense for him to have blue arms, because why would you suddenly have beige arms when your legs are blue and the only other part of you that's beige is either your chops or your chest fur? I mean, that's the only part of his design that's never added up. I mean, at least in Boom, that's one of the few things. Aaron Izzo says, wait, so Sonic is a sequel to Fallout? Why not? Why not?
Why to keep my mouth shut about that game?
What?
Fuck you, Bethesda.
I've heard so many dark things about that.
Yeah, same.
I am one of the very few people that doesn't really have a problem with the design, because to me there are more important things to worry about. Because and it's like I said, also like I've said again, even if the fans were given exactly what they want, they'd still bitch about it.
True.
I'm more interested in what the story is going to be. And again, it's probably not going to be what the fans are going to like and enjoy. But again, repeating myself here. And also, just for context, there are two types of Sonic fans. There are those like myself, Win, and Random, whereby, okay, we don't always get what we want on occasion, but we try to make the best of a situation and offer constructive criticism. Constructive criticism. Say, well, these aspects were good, but you may want to apply element 33D54 instead of 75Y2. I'm just throwing in elements, just so that people could then look and think, oh, I see what he's meaning with that, rather than, no, I want more classic style games. Gets given games. Yeah, put it back to modern games. I feel like I'm turning into Skeletor reviewing Sonic games. That'd be an interesting set of circumstances. Blast you, Sonic and He-Man. Oh, that'd be an interesting.
Oh my god. IDW, MJ just gave you your next comic idea.
Oh no!
Just imagining Robotnik and Skeletor teaming up. That's yeah. But the point stands. I don't have a problem with it, and the whole eyes thing. Look, again, you're trying to take something that's iconic to translate it into a real world setting. His mono eye look that he's had for the last near 30 years, it won't work in live action. I mean, if you think
that's probably the original problem itself. It is live action, whereas some people would probably think that Sonic only works best in animation.
And that's just excuse me. And that's also the thing. I would also be happy with an animated version because then you've got a license to do whatever you want. But, you know, they're trying to apply... I mean, they're going to try and apply real-world physics because the impression that I'm getting with regards to the style that they're going with, it's probably going to be something similar to that of the first Iron Man movie or the first Mummy movie from 1999, where it's action orientated, but it will have the right amount of humor to balance things out. It's one of those where it's not comedy driven, but there'll be these moments like in the first movie where you get Rick O'Connell asking Evie how she is, and her brother answers before she says anything, and he's just like, "Idiot! I'm not out talking to you." You know, I think it's going to be that style of humor. Crooked Law says, realistic Sonic the Hedgehog. He'll eat his young and when scared and will poop and eat it. Okay, dude, not that realistic. I've seen the scientifically accurate Sonic the Hedgehog, and as far as I'm concerned, that video can go die in a fire. That's nasty.
Damn.
I'm going to be open-minded and at least wait for a proper trailer. Not a teaser to a teaser, and not the teaser, a proper, full-on 2 to 3 minute trailer, just so we can get given the scope and what tone the movie's going to go with. Because all we've got at the moment are 2 posters. One of him in a silhouette, and one of him atop the Golden Gate Bridge with his sneakers and a little graffiti inscription saying Sonic was here. And this is just a subjective nitpick, but I know they're trying to be modern, but you could have used the red sneakers with the white belt buckle in the middle, and putting a little ring by the laces does not, you know, is not really a nod to the buckle. It's, for me, I've always wanted a pair of his original shoes, and you know, people, those shoes that they were selling as an import from Japan, no, those things look like absolute ass. We want the proper full-on high tops that he's had for the last near 30 years. Those are the ones we want. And they said, oh, we can't get that made. It's like, I've actually seen pictures on one Sonic forum where somebody has gone into Adidas's make your own sneaker and actually did it.
Wait, you mean Adidas?
Well, we call it Adidas over here, but you know, Adidas, Adidas, tomato, tomato, potato, potato. Let's call the whole thing off. He was able to do it within 5 minutes. It's not hard for them to do. So why they can't replicate, you know, his iconic sneaks, I don't know. They say they want to be modern, but that was the one aspect I wanted to see done properly. But hey, we don't always get what we want. I mean, you know, nearly 15 years later, I'm still waiting for the Knight Rider movie that David Hasselhoff promised, and we still don't have it.
Or it's like Dan Williams just brought up the soap shoes from Sonic Adventure 2.
Yeah, could have had those as well.
Those were technically real.
Yeah. Like I say, I don't have a problem with the design because I've seen far worse done. And like I say, I think people are blowing things out of proportion because, come on, we all knew that we were going to get given something that we weren't expecting. And I think until we see something of absolute substance and depth with regard to his full reveal, because I know that there's the version where you see him riding in the back of a car with when Chris Pratt was originally on production for the movie. We know that's not the design, because apparently Sega were happy with that, but Paramount were like, no, we need to go further with this. Again, let's wait until we see something that's got actual substance and depth, because all we've got at the moment is a silhouette of a hedgehog, and I do not know if he does the fandango. Well, that joke. Lid's got it.
I don't get it.
I do.
Yeah, I got it.
The silhouette of a hedgehog. Scaramouche, Scaramouche. Will you do the fandango?
Oh,
that's what I was going for. Lid's picked up on it straight away. But until we see something credible, let's just wait and see, because all we've got now are those two posters, and that doesn't tell us anything.
There was that other leaked poster, but it is kind of dubious as to whether or not that's real. Exactly. Or it's like, because we know it shows Sonic on chilling out on a car with Chris Pratt, even though Chris Pratt's not in the movie, so it's either badly Photoshop or it was like some sort of proof of concept pre-production piece of art.
And like I say, we don't know what tone they're going to go with, because I'm more interested in the story just to see where they're going to go with this. And yeah, I do understand that movie adaptations of video games are not always the best, though personally I'm very favorable of the first Tomb Raider movie because I enjoyed that for what it was. But I've got confidence and faith in that Tim Miller will get this handled properly, because as you've said, Kaiju, here's a guy who knows how to spend his budget accordingly, because he brought us the first Deadpool movie 2 years ago. And even though the movie's locations and scope were very small because of what he had to work with, because all the locations always seem to be the same. But when you're only working with $50 million on a high effects, special effects, and visual effects, you got to look, with what you can do and what you can't do. And $90 million for a visual effects movie like this. And this is the other thing that people complain about. It's like, where are Tails, Amy, and Knuckles? It's like, considering this is his big theatrical live action debut, I think it's much safer and manageable just to have him where he's the primary visual effects character to work with. Because, other than the Eddie LeBron movie from 5 to 6 years ago, Sonic's never really been done in live action before. And I think they've been smart in waiting this long for technology to catch up to be able to do this. Because let's just be real here. If they tried to do a live action Sonic movie back in, say, 94, it would have looked terrible. You would have been able to make an entertainingly bad movie, but it wouldn't have been good to the effect of, say, Yogi Bear, the movie, which although that movie was visually impressive, jeez Louise, the movie was terrible. Because it's the same rinse and repeat formula. Protagonist acts like a goof, starts learning the error of his ways, then starts rising up and defending his error. And I'm like, yeah, I've seen this like a billion times before. Although I did like Justin Timberlake as Boo Boo. That was surprisingly one of the better parts of the movie. And Dan Aykroyd, I'll give him his due. He does a good Yogi. Not gonna lie.
Yeah,
but...
and Tom Cavanaugh did pretty good as the Ranger.
Yes, he did. I was surprised by that. And
Mm-hmm.
you get the impression Anna Faris was just there just to be there for the sake of.
It's
Yeah.
Hollywood. They gotta shoehorn in some pseudo love interest in almost every film to pander to the narrative of rinse and repeat stories. Because
that's what the families want. They want the romances.
It's like they either shoehorn in a character that's never been there and do it wrong. The rare moments are things like Space Jam where they did Lola, because I personally thought Lola was awesome.
Same.
But
Yeah.
or they follow the formula of trying to follow trends and to come off hip to the kids, when in the end it just always ends up really, really cringy.
Hard to think she was married to Chris Pratt.
Or like some of the cartoons from 2 years ago, they try to shoehorn every single meme. It's like all they do is Google memes and just pick one, even if it's a dead one from a decade ago.
Which is what I hear is what they did in the end credit sequence of Wreck-It Ralph.
Well, that's an exception. Wreck-It Ralph in itself is fan service.
Yeah.
I mean, not Wreck-It Ralph, but Wreck-It Ralph 2.
All right.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah. Oh, that was perfect.
Yeah, Wreck-It Ralph can kind of get away with it because, from what I understand, they did it right.
Since you're probably as big of a Sonic fan as I am, what's your 2 cents?
I'm honestly going to give it the benefit of the doubt because all we have is a movie poster with a silhouette. We haven't seen the actual face. The one thumbnail Kaiju showed the other day kind of seemed like someone just photoshopped it for the sake of trolling. So that one I can't really go by. But what would make it more meatier is to get an actual trailer of the film. And marketing, don't fuck it up by putting the entire premise in a 2-minute trailer. That's starting to get old.
Yeah.
You'd think Universal had learned their lesson from Jurassic World 3 years ago, but nope. They went and did the same thing this year with, I think they had something like 8 TV spots, 2 teasers, and 3 featured trailers with something like 2 to 3 behind the scenes featurettes. I'm like, Universal, are you aware of the concept of less is more? Apparently not.
I understand show, not tell, but there is such thing as too much show.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. Master Raiden.
I'm with Win on this one. It's at a point where we're just gonna see. I mean, design itself, it looks weird, but you know, since you have people like Tim Miller, guy behind Deadpool, I believe it'll go well. The thing is, you just gotta ignore every toxic fan base because it's like you let something get in your head way too much, you're just going to, I guess, turn into an NPC.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely going to keep better than the doubt. I mean, though I'm not much big of a fan of Sonic, I do respect what he does, and I still like some of the stuff. So I'm willing to see what's going to happen in the future. So
Oh god, now I have a mental image of the NPC face on Sonic going, Eggman bad!
Oh no. I was about to say, whilst I'm not a fan of the Troyster, can Hollywood just do me a solid, just this once? Can we not have the main villain be Troy inspired? Can you just actually have?
It's kind of difficult to say considering how the evil, greedy businessman is one of the most stock characters in history.
I know, but
That's true.
it would just be a refreshing change to have say like, why are you doing this? I'm evil. It'd be like, what was what did you think was going to happen? Because we've gone to the point now where corporate man bad or politician bad. It's like, can we just have a bad guy being a bad guy because he enjoys it? I mean, is that too much to ask for some movies? I mean, look how they handled Deckard Shaw's character from Fast 6. Oh no, Fast 7. Excuse me, Fast 7, because Owen Shaw was Fast 6.
Yeah.
Because Jason Statham's character was bad to the bone, didn't have any remorse, and stuck to his guns. It's actually nice just to see, and as it's like Nick Nugent said 3 years ago, those type of antagonists do actually exist, because I think people have gone to the point now where they're sick of sympathetic villains. It's gone to the point I was like, yeah, he doesn't have to have like a tragic reason. He could just do it because he likes being a prick.
Yes, there's always rarities,
I mean, trying to think of it. It'd be like if you made heel Kevin Owens a villain in a movie where he goes punching down, somebody's art piece, like he did with one artist backstage that was of Cena, and he just smashed it over his knee and just walked off without giving a damn. It's like, he's not doing it because he was wronged. He's doing it because he's a dick and he enjoys doing it. We need those sort of villains come back, because again, whole sympathetic thing is like, yeah, this was cute for a while. It's kind of outstayed his welcome, Crooked Lore says Dracula from Castlevania was a perfect tragic villain, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
I've seen bits and pieces of Castlevania. I will admit that is actually not bad. Dan says, do you know that no one wants to host the Oscars this year? We'll consider it was hosted by Jimmy Kimmel, who'd want to host anything after him. But that's just my personal bias coming out.
I bet you it's going to be John Oliver.
Especially how Kimmel's getting parents to turn parents turn kids' TVs off for Fortnite. Like, that's a dark influence, if you ask me. It's funny, but still a dark influence.
Lids, your 2 cents.
When I first saw it, I was like, what the hell is this? It's like, it looked a little off-putting to me. I'm like, this looks weird. But again, like everybody else, it's like, I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. But yeah, it looks bizarre. I'm sorry. But again, it's like, I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. I'll have to see a full trailer in order to get like a good view of what Sonic is going to look like. But again, it's still like, I'm still a little iffy on it. I'm still on the fence.
I did like the tagline for the movie, "A whole new speed of hero." I'm like, okay, I saw what you did there. Like, whole new breed of hero, whole new speed of heroes. Like, all right. I don't mind that. That's actually kind of clever.
Yeah, I'll give him that credit instead of going with the obligatory gotta go fast.
Yeah. Crooked Lore says, did you guys notice that Sonic had sparks on him? Doesn't that come off a bit too much like the Flash?
A little bit, yeah.
What?
Because if you look in the poster, they're noting that it looks like he's got sparks coming off of him. I think that, I don't know, it might be just the effect that the rings are having on him in the movie, because I think they're playing off a similar concept from the cancelled 32X game that they would have had out called Sonic Extreme, where instead of going after the 7 Chaos Emeralds, he goes after the 7 Chaos Rings. Interesting choice to go after, since the Chaos Emeralds have always been the plot MacGuffin for the better part of 27 years. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. And there's some people, again, like bent out of shape over him being a juvenile delinquent. It's like, yeah, some people don't like having familiarity messed with, but sometimes you've got to shake things up just to try and, freshen it up, because you get some protagonists that actually start out as not necessarily antagonists, but they've walked the wrong path for a while, because as Win alluded to us last week, Plastic Man started off as a bad guy, but then, did a face turn and actually started working with, because he is a member of the Justice League. So it is possible for somebody who's a little bit misguided to actually have an epiphany and think, yeah, you know what, I'm going to go do the good thing. It sounds really lame explaining it like that, but the context is the same. Last but certainly never least, we come to the future Roger Ebert himself. Where do you weigh in on this?
Personally, I think the design is absolutely hideous. It just comes off as sort of that uncanny valley where you're trying to make a very exaggerated, stylized, cartoony appearance design and try to make it work in live action. It's like, I would love to compare this to what Nintendo and who's making the Detective Pikachu movie? I think Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
I think Paramount. I don't know.
I want to compare this to what the people are doing behind the Detective Pikachu movie, where, they also went in a rather controversial decision to try to make the Pokemon look very realistic, despite the Pokemon themselves being very cartoonish, and having this like originally having a very universally appealing design aesthetic. And what they did was actually pretty genius in Detective Pikachu, where they have the overall silhouette of the cartoony appearance from the original games. They just added a lot of realistic textures. So Pikachu still looks like Pikachu, just he's a bit more furrier now, and he has like more these brown irises around his pupils. Or Charizard still looks like Charizard, except now he's more scalier. Jigglypuff is more like Jigglypuff, but again, furrier. Mr. Mime is still Mr. Mime, except now he looks like he's made out of rubber.
And Nightmare Fuel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They still preserve that part. So looking again at what Sonic is doing, not only did they added texture, but they decided to completely change the entire silhouette by giving him muscular details. It appears that they took away his gloves. They made his shoes look more like sneakers. They have this weird bulging eyeball for some reason. Some people are still on the fence about what that could be. It just looks all kinds of wrong. Like this was some sort of like horrific Nazi experiment from like World War II in the hopes of creating the ultimate creation against in use in war. I don't know, man. It's incredibly unsettling. It's it's sort of, in a way, it's seen the posters. It's given me a lot of bad vibes, and especially when we've seen the early set photos. I'm not sure if anyone has seen them, but where it's like Green Hill Zone is like this small town, and it's like this very old rinky-dinky western town. Like I mentioned before, like I had hopes that they would actually be able to work with a small budget, but the small budget here, it's not giving me any hope whatsoever. It's like, okay, so Sonic is going to end up in a small little town that's like far away from everywhere else. So I guess we're not going to get any of the whole big San Francisco sort of stuff that the second poster was implying. Yeah, I just have no hopes whatsoever. I mean, I guess Jim Carrey can still perform a decent Eggman, but given how realistic they'd want to make Sonic, I can only imagine what sort of quote unquote realistic direction they want to take Eggman in. Given again how originally cartoony it was, and that's kind of the whole appeal of Sonic. I've always imagined Sonic as 90s Mickey Mouse. He's just like, take the cartoonish appeal of Mickey Mouse, but radicalize him for like the 90s generation. That's essentially, when you boil down Sonic's character, that's essentially what he is. He's Mickey Mouse of the 90s. And in a way, I can see that they're trying to capture that with the whole extreme speed vibe that they're going with the early marketing. But they kept the 90s-ness, but they completely foregone the Mickey Mouse-ness of the design. And I feel like you lose a lot of what makes Sonic's design originally appealing. And that's the thing. They were trying to take him into a realistic direction. I believe that was a mistake from the get-go. And I think having this go full on cartoony with it, with the character design could have been a better choice, or just making the whole thing into an animated movie. Even going so far as to like say, like, if I were to take any sort of game to use as a template for an animated movie, I'd go with Sonic Unleashed. It's it's human characters, it's non-human characters. Everything from that design looked perfect for an stylized animated movie. And I feel Sonic's design.
Oh, sorry for interrupting, but since you mentioned Sonic Unleashed, does anyone get the little context of that design? Well, the movie design looks more werehog-ish.
A little.
I see
A little bit.
I see it now.
And sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I couldn't resist because I was singing the opening song of Sonic Unleashed. I went, I see it. I see it.
Oh,
now.
yeah.
Bowling for soup.
But at the end of the day, I just feel like Sonic is a character that works best he only works best if the world around him is as stylized as him.
Mm.
But if the world looks more down to earth and he's made to fit in that sort of reality, the whole thing just doesn't look right to me. And I guess I'll just leave it at that.
No, that's actually a very good counterpart. Again, we've only got those two posters to work with.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason I'm not really giving an opinion on the whole debacle is, and this is something I learned the hard way 6 years ago, because Win will probably remember this. Remember when I had that little funny 5 minutes doing a rant on a convention 6 years ago, and I had to eat a lot of humble pie for it afterwards?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I was not at said convention and I gave an opinion about it. I had a comment section and like to dislike meter that was on par with the guy who got kicked out of the shopping mall that we did a commentary on. So I'm reserving my opinion until we get something much more concrete. It's why I say to other people, don't judge something until you've actually seen it, because you just end up eating a lot of humble pie. And I've had to do that a lot over the years. That's why I've got the mentality that I have these days. But sometimes that could be a good thing, because as I've said to a few people, IRL and online, sometimes in order to learn a lesson properly, sometimes you gotta learn it the hard way. Because then you're not likely to repeat it again afterwards. But I don't know. I mean, I do understand completely where you're coming from, Kaiju. It probably would be better for Sonic to go for a more CG animated movie. Heck, even a 2D animated movie would be fine. But
I mean, even Mario himself, I think Nintendo made the right decision to go for an animated Super Mario movie. And Mario's a human character. And as we've seen with Bob Hoskins, that a live action Mario can work. But even then, they're deciding they chose to do with they. And I'm not saying the movie is good. I'm just saying Bob Hoskins was good. But I'm saying, like, even with the potential for a live action Mario, they said no, we're sticking with animation because it's safer. Mario works best when he's animated.
Again, I'm gonna wait until we see something more concrete, because maybe it's my naivete. If there is, hey, I hold my hand up to that. But I genuinely want to see this work, because I've waited for a big production Sonic movie for about as long as I can remember. And, you know, maybe it's because of my bias towards this, but, you know, Sonic has been one of my childhood favorite characters since the early 90s. I just want to see this done right. And it's like we said, I've got faith in Tim Miller's capabilities, because he knows what he's doing. Even if you don't agree with some decisions to begin with, the man knows what he's doing. And otherwise, Paramount wouldn't have hired him. So we're just going to have to wait and see what we get given. And also, a lot can happen between now and next December. Because for all we know, Paramount could take a look at the design and say, maybe we should change this, because, and I used the first Jurassic Park as an example, because Random asked the question, how long does it actually take to animate a CG creation in total? And I said it takes roughly about 6 months if you're going to do it properly, because and the only reason, like I say, I used Jurassic Park as an example, because nobody had actually done full-on CG creatures of that nature before that movie, whereas now they're just doing it like it's going out of style. I mean, I don't know how long it took them to animate the dinosaurs for the last 2 movies, but I would imagine 6 months is probably about the right amount of length for it, considering CG has come a long way since the summer of 93. Considering it's mainly going to be one major CG character they're going to use. I mean, I don't know if they're going to bring the Badniks in, how detailed the rings are going to be. But I'd like to think they'll have plenty of time to make Sonic look as polished as possible, even if it's a design that not too many people will be fond of. But not to sound like a broken record, even if they gave everyone exactly what they want, you'd still have that situation. Yeah, we all approve. I don't like it. And you'd be like, ugh. It's like that situation from The Simpsons where Homer asks everybody, do you approve? Yeah. And you're that one like weenie guy in the background. Nay. And you're like, who is that? So
it's him. Let's get him, fellas.
Yep.
Ah!
So, I mean, it could be a CG monstrosity, or heck, as some people have pointed out, maybe Paramount purposely put that teaser poster out just to troll people.
Could
we don't
be.
know.
Maybe.
And Crooked Laura said, why isn't The Rock in this Sonic movie? He's in everything.
maybe he will be. We don't know.
Maybe in the sequel.
Maybe, Maybe they'll have a lot of celebrity cameos in this movie.
Yeah.
Now, one thing that Kryptonite Calipax was asking is, would we ever see Jaleel White make a cameo where he just looks and goes, "Oh, that's no good."
I would not mind that at all.
That'd be okay, actually.
Want to know what else I would like?
Mm-hmm.
If whenever a trailer comes out, I want Aldo Jones to do a fucking weird trailers of it.
Oh, you know he
Oh,
will.
you know he will.
Oh boy. And he's probably gonna find a way to fit in dancing Peter Parker in there.
And The Rock.
Oh, too late. Too late. I mean, if anyone has ever seen like trailers for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, they've already done it.
Oh, no.
But oh, Dan's just saying, Kaiju, may I please request if you could do an impression of Timmy's dad finding out that Dinkelberg stole his egg? Dude, where the hell are you going with this?
Wait,
He's asked me to do Timmy's dad again, in the past. You're gonna have to give me an exact line because I don't remember. I don't remember that line from the Christmas special. I just know Dinkelberg.
You do that voice really well.
Hey,
Yeah.
Timmy! Ooh!
I think Dad's off his meds again.
Dinkelberg.
In a way, he almost sounds like Plankton.
Kind of.
Do instruments of torture count?
Oh, God.
Dinkelberg, surrender my nog, you fiend!
Stephen Walker's just gone. Sean Retro's just said, "Don't forget, do you know the way?"
Oh,
that will probably save this movie, I bet.
yes.
I also, by the way, I love the parody poster where they just took the silhouette of Ugandan Knuckles and replaced Sonic.
Do you know the way?
Why are you running?
The queen, the queen.
The Queen.
Oh,
Oh, I've seen people comment on the Sonic posts and on the Sonic design, and it's like this is not the Sonic. We will spit on him.
remember when Double Toasted reacted to the Ugandan Knuckles meme? Corey was losing his mind.
Oh,
Of course.
Oh, dear.
It's the Aryan Lizard. Oh God, Kaiji, you are too good at this. Crooked, Anderson, Elise, the Bizarro, Augustine, and Bell. Steven, MJ, I saw the. Steven said, MJ, I saw the Bumblebee tweet yesterday. I saw the Bumblebee yesterday.
I think he's the Bumblebee movie.
Okay, I was gonna say he saw the Bumblebee among bumblebees.
Bumbleception.
Oh my God.
ah!
I think we'll close up on the Sonic topic, as we've basically said everything we needed to.